जालिमों को शर्म नहीं आती इस रोड पे जहाँ पे खून ही खून है, गोलियां मार रहे हैं हमारे भाइयों को। क्या तमाशा है ये?
Where humanity ends, a new world begins. And that world is Pakistan.
आप हमारे पैसों पे पलते हैं, ये गोलियां हमारे टैक्स के पैसे से खरीदते हैं, हमें मार रहे हो।
Oh my God!
A country where the military and police kill their own citizens. A country where the Defence Minister calls his own people enemies. A country that cuts off electricity and water just to make life harder for its citizens. This is a state that is callous, brutal, and corrupt to its core. Let's connect the dots. At least 30 civilians have been killed by Pakistani security forces in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, or PoJK, earlier this week. This is not an isolated incident. Since the crackdown began in early June, the death toll across the region has crossed 90, according to the Joint Awami Action Committee, or JAAC, the group leading the movement. So why are people protesting? It started with a simple demand: scrap 12 assembly seats reserved for refugees who left Jammu and Kashmir decades ago and settled in mainland Pakistan. But it grew into the biggest movement against Pakistani rule in years, with people demanding autonomy, accountability, and control over their own resources. Islamabad's answer was not dialogue, it was force. More than 14,000 armed personnel were sent into the region. Reports say snipers were positioned across multiple locations. Security forces used live ammunition and long-range tear gas on unarmed crowds. In Mirpur city, personnel were seen firing directly on civilians, then loading bodies into their vehicles. To keep the world from seeing any of this, Pakistan did what it always does. It cut communication. Internet and mobile services have been suspended across PoJK since the 5th of June. But why? Because no internet means no videos. No videos means the world can't see. And if the world can't see, Pakistan believes it can get away with it.
We have gathered here to peacefully seek our rights. Our only demand is that we be granted our fundamental rights and freedom of expression. Yet our internet services are suspended, communication networks are disrupted, and essential supplies are restricted.
Alongside the blackout, Islamabad engineered an inhumane form of punishment. Food, medicine, and fuel supplies into the region were choked off. Electricity and water were cut in several areas too.
People are unable to travel even for medical treatment. Our access to essential supplies has been blocked and restrictions have been imposed on our movement. This injustice must end.
The first and biggest problem caused by the lack of petrol is for our patients and our children. Bringing them to the hospital has become extremely difficult. The administration has created these major hardships by shutting off petrol supplies, and it seems they are deliberately trying to make life unbearable for the patients and the general public.
While people struggle to eat and reach hospitals, Pakistani officials keep insisting everything is normal.
Right now, people are starving to death in their homes. No one is getting any rations or water from anywhere. Shops are not open. Meanwhile, the officials here are putting out announcements claiming that shops are open, traffic is running, and everything is functioning normally. But those of us who actually live here know very well whether anything is really open or not.
Now think about what a defense minister is supposed to do: protect citizens. That's the job. Instead, Khawaja Asif defended the killings outright, saying he views the protesters as enemies. Let that sink in. A defense minister calling his own citizens the enemy, not because they picked up arms, but because they asked for their rights. That is not just failure, that is shameful. Authorities banned JAAC under anti-terrorism laws. Many of those killed were its activists, including Usman Nazir, the younger brother of one of the movement's founding members. The world took notice. Members of the diaspora demonstrated in the United Kingdom. Amnesty International drew global attention to the crackdown and called for an independent investigation, saying the accounts are consistent with Pakistan's long history of unlawful violence against protesters in the region. Inside PoJK, the blackout continued. Elections went ahead anyway amid a communications shutdown, an armed crackdown, and allegations of widespread rigging. Around 3.8 million residents were eligible to vote, but turnout was hit hard by intimidation and JAAC's call for a boycott. In an environment like that, calling it a free and fair election is a joke. This is not new. For decades, Pakistan has responded to dissent in PoJK with the same playbook: force instead of talks, jail instead of debate, and a documented history of torture and disappearances by its army and security forces. The real question is, how long can Pakistan keep denying its people their basic rights? That's all in this edition of Connecting the Dots. We'll see you next week with more raging issues. Until then, it's a goodbye from all of us in the Delhi newsroom. This is Munun Bhattacharya signing off. Take care and stay safe.